Hey YouTube, Eltopian here again, and thought I'd make a little video and tell you about when I used to be a security guard. That was an adventure. Anyway, that was a long time ago now. It was probably 80, 81. I'd been putting applications in all over the place. Could not get hired for anything. I couldn't get hired to sweep the streets. Anyway, there was a security office, they had security guards and alarms, and they were in downtown where I was living there. And I thought, alright, I'll give it a try. That'd be interesting work. And walked in off the street and filled an application. And the gal that was the office manager said, well, you're a big, good-natured guy, looks like, and said, you might be what we're looking for among our other jobs. We do have one that's coming up, a new job. This little store, this little, kind of a mom and pop store. Well, it was a little bigger than that. It was like the old grocery stores used to be when you used to go downtown to go to the grocery store. And they weren't big markets out on the outskirts. And this place had been there ever since I was a kid, before I was born probably. It was called the Lucky Dollar. It was about a block and a half away from the security guard office. Anyway, she said they were going to hire a guard because they'd been held up. And I thought, oh, well, that's interesting. And said, you might fit the bill. Okay. Well, anyway, we talked a little bit. I thanked her and went on my way. And they were trying to call me before I got home. I guess the client had decided he wanted a guard right the next day. So anyway, they brought me in the next day, put me in a uniform, gave me a badge, and I happened to have a nice long blue coat. I think it was in November. It was cold weather. And it looked like it went with the uniform, and so they said, well, yeah, go ahead and wear that, and gave me another little badge to put on the outside of it. And sent me over with the watch commander, the captain, and he took me into the Lucky Dollar there, and he introduced me to the manager and the night cashier, and he kind of looked around. We went through the store, and everything was calm and quiet. And he said, well, they want you to stand up front here by the cash registers near the front door. Had the cash registers and the safe right up near the front door. And he said they want you to just kind of stand here and be a presence. And by the way, I wasn't armed. The security guard company did not really want to spend the money training. They would have had to put me through a training course that would have been an expense for them, which would have been fine. I would have loved to have done it. But also their insurance goes up whether they have a armed or an unarmed guard, and they didn't want to pay the extra insurance. So anyway, I'm thinking, this is interesting. And the watch commander was armed, by the way. The captain and lieutenant were the watch commanders, and they were armed because they answered alarms. And he looked around and he said, well, I don't think anything's going to happen here tonight. And he said about 10:30 you should make rounds around the parking lot, walk around the building, because we were near the railroad tracks and there were a lot of bums that hung around there. Okay. And I should back up here a little bit and tell you that for this job the client hired us from 7 o'clock to 11 o'clock, which was fine, except they closed at midnight. But the client was too cheap to pay for 5 hours of a guard, and he wanted a guard at least at 7 o'clock because that's when the biggest crowd started coming in. And he figured, well, if nobody held up the place by 11 o'clock, it was all right. And they couldn't convince him otherwise, but he was paying for it, so here I am, 7 to 11 o'clock. And, excuse me, let me pipe again here. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, the watch commander showed me around and then he left. He said, I'll pick you up at 11 o'clock. And I'm thinking, what did I get myself into? For $4.25 an hour. Well, everything was going along fine. People, when they came in the door, you got to remember this is downtown, and not a real big town, but a fair-sized town. And you had a lot of hookers go through there. You had a lot of bums, and this and that and the other come into the store, and so you got to see pretty much everybody. And as soon as they'd come in the door, they'd see the uniform. Whoa! I took them back. The presence worked for a while, and anyway, everything went fine. And then about 10:30, nobody was around, and I thought, well, okay, I better do that walk around the parking lot. This is where it gets good. I started around the parking lot, and there's nobody in the parking lot at all. Nobody at all. But it was pitch black, just about. A little light out back, but not much. And I was walking around the back of the building, and I got right up by this dumpster. This cat came out of the dumpster. Kawoom! Jumped up, hit one of the lids of the dumpster, and it came down, bang! And I tell you, he went one way and I went the other way. And you see why this is gray? I think it started back then. Or if I would have had a beard back then. They made me shave it off. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I notice I'm up to my time limit, just about. Now I'm going to come back and tell you the rest of the story. It gets better, folks. Anyway, this is the Utopian. I'll see you in a little bit.